Hello and welcome to the next episode of Snippets on IBC. This is a new and unique initiative of the ICSI Institute of Insolvency Professionals. Now, through this medium of short videos featuring persons experienced in the field of IBC law and processes, an attempt is being made to focus on certain special issues or questions faced by insolvency professionals and other stakeholders during the conduct of processes under the code. The objective is to raise awareness of such questions or issues for which clear answers may not be available today, to discuss such issues and eventually arrive at solutions in the form of best practices. Where necessary, it may even involve seeking amendments or modifications in the statutory provisions. I am Ravi Prakash Ganti, engineer, ex-corporate executive, insolvency professional, and hoping to be shortly enrolled as an advocate. Today, I will be drawing your attention to issues connected with the generally accepted principle that the commercial wisdom of the Committee of Creditors is supreme and the intervention of the tribunals in matters of a commercial nature is to be kept at a bare minimum, if not to be completely avoided. In a number of landmark judgments, the Honorable Apex Court has reiterated the principle that in matters pertaining to the commercial aspects of the resolution process, especially with respect to approval of resolution plans and the distribution of resolution amounts, the tribunals are not to interfere with the collective decision of the CoC, except to the extent of examining such plans to ensure that they are in compliance with the statutory stipulations. Now, the objective behind this approach is understandable. It's no doubt very laudatory because it leaves the job of experts to the experts, that is, the members of the CoC. However, in a majority of cases, it is being noticed that the exercise of such commercial wisdom may have resulted in at least some miscarriage of justice. The short question that is the focus of this episode is that is subsection 4 of section 30 of the code being misinterpreted by providing only the minimum stipulated to operational creditors, which in most cases we all know is nil. Now let us first look at what the section says, section 30, subsection 4. The Committee of Creditors may approve a resolution plan by a vote of not less than 66% of voting share of the financial creditors after considering its feasibility and viability, the manner of distribution proposed, which may take into account the order of priority amongst creditors as laid down in subsection 1 of section 53, including the priority and value of the security interest of a secured creditor and such other requirements as may be specified by the board. Now, section 30 subsection 4, by using the word may, has given discretion to the CoC to consider providing for distribution of the resolution amount as per the ranking under subsection 1 of section 53, while also considering the priority and value of the security interest of each creditor. Now, what is to be remembered is that this is a discretionary power and not a mandatory requirement. However, what is seen in actual practice is that almost every resolution plan that has been approved since the inception of IBC has largely provided for only the minimum payable to operational creditors and unsecured financial creditors. For all practical purposes, the CIRP process has become just a recovery process like it is in liquidation. Now, this is obviously completely against the spirit and intent of the code. The CoC has been bestowed with extraordinary powers with minimal checks and balances. Such a thing has never happened before, not even under this RPC Act. Unfortunately, it appears, at least on the face of it, that the discretionary powers of the CoC have been used only for the benefit of the secured financial creditors. The question then arises Why waste 12 to 18 months or even more in trying to obtain a so-called resolution plan when the end result is almost always really a sale of assets like in liquidation? The objective of the resolution phase was that the members of the CoC, in exercise of their commercial wisdom, would negotiate and approve a plan which addresses the claims of all stakeholders equitably and in a manner that is better than under a liquidation option. As we can see on the ground, this is not really happening. Now, another worrying aspect, in addition to this aspect of distribution, is that in the approval process, only lip service is being paid to the mandatory requirement of considering the feasibility and viability of the resolution plan. Now, while it is the responsibility of the CoC, it has been noticed that resolution professionals also do not really insist that the CoC should undertake this exercise in seriousness and record its collective conclusions on the same. What we usually come across are a blank sentence or two included in the minutes to the effect that the CoC has considered the feasibility and viability of the resolution plan. In recent times, we are observing defaults and failures in the implementation of many approved plans, especially those that have provided for payment over a period of time. Now, this may be an indicator that the consideration of the feasibility and viability aspects of the plan may not have been undertaken with the seriousness that it demands. The BLRC report of 2015 specifically recommended that by default, the CoC shall be composed of financial creditors only. Now, in the relevant para, the report states, and I quote, "The committee deliberated on who should be on the creditors committee, given the power of the creditors committee to ultimately keep the entity as a going concern or liquidate it. The committee reasoned that members of the creditors committee have to be creditors both with the capability to assess viability as well as to be willing to modify terms of existing liabilities in negotiations. Typically, operational creditors are neither able to decide on matters regarding the insolvency of the entity, nor willing to take the risk of postponing payments for better future prospects for the entity. The committee concluded that for the process to be rapid and efficient, the code will provide that the creditors committee should be restricted to only the financial creditors. The CoC has been bestowed with powers not ordinarily available in most jurisdictions of the world. Maybe the time has come for the community of financial creditors, especially PSU banks and financial institutions, to take a more balanced and equitable view and actually try to look after the interests of those category of creditors who are not represented in the CoC. It would also be desirable that IPs too start using their stature and status as the chairperson of the CoC, especially the power of moral persuasion that comes with that position, and speak up for the interests of those creditors who have not got a seat at the high table. Thank you for listening.